Fashion weeks around the globe have been in full swing.
That's
Yay!
right. And here to break down which designers have made a splash on the runway in London and Milan is veteran designer and fashion critic Kibwe Chase Marshall. Welcome back.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Kibwe.
Or I should say cheerio because of London and ciao because of Milan.
Oh, look at you. Trilingual.
Yeah.
Try it.
At least you don't have triple breast. Anyway, let's talk about Tom Ford.
Shall we?
Shall we?
Please.
Yes, please.
And funny that you should mention breasts.
Yes,
because
he brought the sizzle to Gucci. We know him for that, and it seems like he's returning to his hot, sexy roots. Tell us more.
Mr. Ford has always been about sort of a sophisticated eroticism, and this season he certainly played to his strong suits. They are doing these sheer bodices on these stunning pieces where he kind of built pasties into the tops. And this is certainly not for the shy or timid, but it is kind of in keeping with certain current energies. If you think about sort of all this celebrity nude leaking and sort of, honestly, the canon of aesthetic that Rihanna has solidified.
Yes.
This is a time in which people are very body confident, and Ford knows how to dress that.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's his moment again.
Well, we'll see.
I think so.
Okay, I think
so.
it should be, because I think finally he's sort of given up on being super exclusive and super insider, and he's opening back up his aesthetic to a lot of people that are responding to it. So yeah.
All right.
Now talk to us about some of the floral things that have been seeing on the runway there.
So the floral print that we saw in New York, really in London, went to sort of a new level of sophistication.
Okay.
In that a designer like Erdem takes floral motifs and renders them in embroideries and really interesting surface treatments that move, honestly, garments beyond what we can get at high street, at mass market, to truly the Altamoda ready-to-wear level.
Got you. So you're not going to see these at Zara.
No, you're not going to
see an interpretation.
You will.
But you won't see a proper knockoff that leaves you wondering what's the real and what's the fake.
Exactly, because I have to say, and I think a designer like Erdem, who really has built a lot of his sort of lexicon around floral motifs, realizes he has to up the ante. And that embroidery, that hand treatment, that technique is what does that.
Okay, and Marnie seemed to also jump on the floral bandwagon this time around, right?
In an interesting way, in that in celebrating the 20th anniversary of the founding of the brand.
It's been 20 years?
It's been 20 years.
Wow.
Because Marnie was a very sort of like under the mainstream radar for quite some time.
Very true.
Consuelo Castiglione, the brand's designer, she sort of developed a celebration around a flower market. And then for the collection, took a far more subtle than expected approach, rendering a really sort of like quiet Marnie that I feel really paid homage to the DNA of the brand, as opposed to the interpretations that we see once again trickling down to mass.
Is that because they're primarily known for their like tribal wear and architect type stuff?
Marnie is about sort of an eclectic mix. So they engage elements that are sometimes ethnic or tribal. They engage sporty elements. And it's about this sort of eclectic artisan mix of it all.
Yeah, and these flowers are more Gauguin-inspired flowers.
There's some of that, and as well, she did things that felt sort of a bit digital and technical.
Got you.
She really pulls from a broad sort of spectrum of references.
All right. Let's talk about Jeremy Scott.
Please.
we mentioned him earlier in the show, this Barbie collection. Okay, so last season, it was all about McDonald's.
Yes.
And that, remarkably, did extremely well.
Yes.
How do you think this Barbie collection, one, will be received by the fashion world at large? Two, how will it sell? And three, who will purchase this Barbie collection?
All very, very, very poignant questions.
Okay.
So here's what I'll say. This is not my personal sort of world of comfort. I challenge myself to tiptoe into this world of wit and humor. I always say that I'm not into ha-ha fashion.
Right.
But many people respond to the wit in Scott's work.
Okay.
And I think what Scott has done quiet as it's kept, is learned how to translate that wit into registers ringing and dollar signs.
Yeah.
From his Adidas teddy bear and winged sneakers to the McDonald's iPhone cases that he made last season becoming a big hit at retail, to this season doing a Barbie collection that, in a world where Lady Gaga and Nicki Minaj and Iggy Azalea truly set the pace for how a lot of young women want to look, he's smart. It might be done with a wink of the eye and a tongue in a cheek, but at the end of the day, I think as well, the company's in the black, and so it's smart.
Money.
Okay,
so
but what do you think normal
this?
women? Yeah, you mentioned Lady Gaga and Nicki Minaj, but will normal women wear this stuff and take him seriously with these designs?
I mean, it depends on who you're calling normal women. There are plenty of women who don't necessarily dress for a professional context that requires, you know, separates and suiting, and you know, they're women for whom a pink PVC lunchbox is a handbag, you know?
Is it like primarily the Japanese Harajuku girl market, do you think?
I mean, I think obviously heavily branded product performs well in Asia. But the other thing I want to give Scott credit for is actually paying homage to the heritage of Moschino. It was always a brand that played with sort of winking at the excessiveness of fashion.
That's true.
So he isn't sort of breaking from that which the brand was founded upon.
That's very true. That's very true. Okay, let's talk about Jill Sander.
Let's.
That line has had a tumultuous history, particularly in the past decade. Talk to us about the history, and will the new creative director be able to not only stabilize the brand, but bring a new energy to Jill Sander?
Jill Sander as a brand is the Melrose Place of fashion. It's like people come, people go, there's drama, you just can't, you want to tune in though, you don't want to miss an episode or a season.
Exactly.
And like Melrose Place, there's some great clothes there too. I sort of came of age on Jill Sander's sort of stoic minimalism.
Right.
And she, when she was ousted from her brand, kind of left that DNA there, and it was taken in a very different direction, but still appropriate direction by Ross Simmons. His collections at Sander were industry received as quite prolific. He almost single-handedly is credited with spurring the contemporary sort of like relevance of color in our wardrobes. He did collections that brought that tangerine orange, that Pepto-Bismol pink into the fashion dialogue. Now, after he's left, we've seen a little revolving door of creative directors. First, Jill returned.
And then she promptly left again.
Yes, her collections were not ubiquitously well received. Then you had some of the design team doing collections. And now you have a gentleman named Rodolfo Paglialonga doing the collection. And I have to say, it was a beautiful collection.
Really?
Yeah. Because it both tapped on what Jill Sander is known for and really played to some of these current relevant banal plus energies. So it really sort of took schoolgirl uniforms and traditional sort of career separates and made them really compelling.
All right.
So best of all worlds.
All right. I like it. All right. So I've got to spend some money on some Jill Sander.
If not spend some money, spend some time looking at it.
All right.
Because it's important.
Spend some time.
I'll do that.
Thank you so much.
And so we've got to talk Paris Fashion Week next week.
It starts today.
On to Paris.
All
on to
right.
Paris,
All
mon
right.
chéri.
We'll have you back soon. All right. Thanks so much.
Kibwe, au revoir. All right.
We'll be right back with more Rise Entertainment 360.